My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC fight picks and DraftKings lineups run by MMA insiders and professional fighters. Every week, I join Dan Kramer and Nick Newell, two longtime professional fighters that have fought at the highest levels on the planet, as well as Jacob Lyons, a skinny kid from Indiana. So join us every single week for our full fight card breakdowns, our individual fight card breakdowns, our betting guide, and our DraftKings lineups. Next up at UFC 261, we have Dwight Grant for Stefan Sekulic. And this is another interesting fight, another decent matchup. Dwight Grant is coming off of a nasty knockout loss. He was winning. He should have gotten his own KO. He blew his wad, ran out of gas, and got knocked out. Do you think he's learned his lesson, Daniel? And do you think he wins this fight?
So this is a tough fight to predict for a couple reasons. So let's start with Sekulic. Sekulic, is that how you say it?
Yeah, start with the USADA suspension.
Well, that's what I was going to say. He's coming off. Yeah. So he's 0-1 in the
traps
UFC.
too.
What's that?
Said all that steroids were his traps, apparently.
Wow, this is funny. These pictures are both, I mean, Dwight Grant, I mean, the way he stands is like fully representative of kind of how awkward his style is, the way he moves and strikes. And then, Sekulic, definitely doing those, what are they, the shrugs in the gym? Yeah. Jacob, you know all about that.
I know the gym.
Yeah. Anyways, so Sekulic's 0-1 in the UFC, but his last fight was 2018. He's coming off of a 2-year USADA suspension. So you just never know what you're going to get when you get a guy, A, coming off a 2-year layoff, and B, from a USADA suspension. 2-year layoff alone is a tough thing to come back from, but if he was taking something and now he's not, that's got to be tough to deal with, both physically and mentally. So that is definitely a concern and a risk. He's priced at $7,000 though, so he's definitely dirt cheap. From what I saw in the fight he had before suspension, he lost to Ramazan Ameev via unanimous decision. He looked like a pretty good striker. He's out of luta livre, looked to be kind of more of a counter striker, move backwards, but almost like Anderson Silva type foot movement and hips and just the way he kind of moved. And he looked pretty well rounded. He got hurt a few times by Ameev, but he did get some takedowns. He also got taken down. So it looked like a competitive fight. And he looked pretty well rounded, but again, 2-year layoff, who knows what he's going to look like now. So then we go to Dwight Grant. He's 2-2 in the UFC. His last fight, he lost to Daniel Rodriguez by knockout after, like you said, almost finishing the fight within the first minute and a half or so. He's 36 years old. So, he's not old, but he's definitely not young. And it's weird because when I was watching tape on him, he almost looks unathletic at first glance, like he's off balance or something. But he's actually very athletic when you start seeing him throw some shots. He's explosive, powerful. He's just got very awkward movement. He throws weird angles. He's got weird footwork. He kind of hobbles around a little bit. So it's obviously a very tough style to train for. So, between these two, with the kind of unknown of what we're going to see out of Sekulic when he comes back, I'm going to pick Grant as the more active fighter with definitely the finishing explosive power. But who knows? I wouldn't be surprised really with anything in this fight. But my pick is Grant. I don't have it in my lineup. Significant strikes. Again, Dwight Grant could go out and starch him, and they could be 1 strike to nothing, or it could be a scrap. So probably not touching that on any platform.
Yeah, I would. I think this is a grappler versus striker matchup, right? I think we have the Dwight Grant's the striker, Stefan Sekulic is the grappler. I would hit the under on the significant strike line because if Sekulic imposes his will and grapples, he's not going to throw a ton. And, Dwight Grant could definitely put him away. I agree. I mean, he popped for straight up steroids. It was actual steroids. It wasn't like a banned substance that could be masking. It was straight up steroids is what he popped for. 2 years off. If he's been spending his whole career doing that and now he's not doing it anymore, I mean, you're right. He may just fall flat in his face, look like a different human being, and just not know what's going on. So it is a really tough one to pick. I would never spend $9,200. And I would not touch Sekulic at 7,000. So I don't have either one of these in my lineup. I will hit the monkey knife fight line. I do like the under on both of these because, like I said, whoever imposes their will, I don't think they'll get over 40 strikes or over 26 strikes. But Jacob, what are your thoughts? How do you see it going? When you cycled off steroids, did it really affect you, or your beard turned red and that was the end of it?
It's nice.
It's nice to it. I was going to say he used to have brown hair.
It's nice to have my balls back. I'll tell you that. It's nice to have the ball back. But when I see Dwight Grant, the first thing I don't think is unathletic, because Dan said, I see Dwight Grant, I see unathletic. Look at that man. He is not unathletic. I'll tell you that.
Did you actually listen when I said? I said at first glance, he almost looks unathletic, but then I realized he's actually very athletic.
Look at that man, Dan. There is nothing unathletic about that man. I'll tell you that right now.
Back with the pictures again.
And Sekulic as well. I don't think you label him as a grappler. I think he's a decent striker as well. I think he can grapple, but I don't think that's his entire game plan. Dan mentioned, I think he's got a great counter. And I think the only way he wins this fight is if he can just kind of weather the storm and try to catch a counter late, because what we're forgetting with Dwight Grant is he also is one of those AKA guys. So I assume he's got that takedown defense. He doesn't show a lot of wrestling, but when
he does have good takedown defense.
What's that?
He does have good takedown defense.
Yeah, I mean, AKA, I mean, that's just what they're known for. So I assume he does have good takedown defense, even if he hadn't shown it. So I like him to be able to withstand the takedowns and get a shot. But I'm worried if Sekulic, if it keeps going the distance, I'm worried about him being able to catch a counter late. So we'll see what happens. But I'd like Dwight Grant to win this fight.
Yeah, we all like him to win. Nick does as well. Just not at this price. $9,200 is so much money. That's a ton of money. That should be that's like the favorites in the 3 title fights is $9,200. Not
much for so much uncertainty.
Yep, I completely agree. I am pretty certain about this significant strike line though. So hit up the URL, deposit using promo code WWP, and hit the under on both of these, because I genuinely. I think there's a stoppage here, and I don't think it's going to take 40 strikes to get there. Before you go, check out the description below. In there, we have links to our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram, and more importantly, to our DraftKings League. Check out the league, join the league, participate in the contests, and as we get going and as you start winning, we're going to start handing out gift cards and participating and doing things like that. So check those out. Every week, there are drops on every fight card. So make sure you check out this channel and our social media on Saturday before the fights start so that you have our most updated lineups and picks.